What's going on, guys? My name is The Alternate, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 roller coaster manufacturers. Whether they manufacture rides consistently that are very good, or whether they make rides that are safe and that every time you go to a park you can depend on riding them. So we're going to go ahead and list the top 5 roller coaster manufacturers. Alright, now guys, coming in at number 5, I was really debating whether to put Premier Rides or Arrow here, but when you look at the history of Arrow and how they've sort of created roller coasters as we see them now, you've definitely got to put Arrow here. Now, I mean, Arrow literally created what is now what we consider roller coasters. The inversions, obviously they're not the same track style, but Arrow really started, I don't want to say the coaster wars, but when Arrow came in and they started making all of these rides, this is really what set the tone for other manufacturers to improve. Now, obviously, Arrows are not good and there's all the bad jokes about them, but there are tons of these rides that are still out there, and this is really what set the tone for a lot of companies to come in and just sort of improve off of what Arrow did wrong, and that's obviously smoothness, restraints, the list goes on. These rides aren't really great, but we had to start somewhere, and Arrow is a really good place when we go back to trace history of roller coasters to start with, because they really were innovative, and so that's why Arrow definitely made this list over Premier Rides. Alright, coming in at the number 4 spot is another one known for having a few rough rides, but it's going to be Bakoma. Now, yes, we have the boomerangs, which, they're rough, but they're definitely rides that we're going to keep doing them even after seeing how rough they are. But they do have some very good types out there, like the Bakoma Flying Dutchman. Every time I get on Fire Rock at Kings Island, I really start thinking, that loop is very unique to that ride. Is this up to par with the B&M Flyer? I always end up answering no, but I really never have good logic behind that. But we definitely have Bakoma here because for their innovation as well. They definitely have lots of rides out there and lots of rides that sparked interest for other companies to sort of go off them, as well as Arrow. Now, Bakoma is a little bit better than Arrow in smoothness, and just the technicality aspect of this, but they definitely deserve to be on this list. Now let's go ahead and move on to the number 3 spot. The number 3 coaster type is going to be coaster company is going to be B&M. Bollinger and Mabillard. I hope I didn't fudge that up. But yes, this company, when you go to parks and you look at the rides, you're like, what's definitely going to be open? Definitely all the B&M rides. Now, do they have rattles? Yes. Are they still great rides? Absolutely. Banshee is a great invert. I mean, that's just one random example, but they also have hypers. Fury, the #1 ride in the world right now, is of course a B&M. So B&M has, they're known for their L-shaped layout hypers, but it really doesn't matter. You're going up hills on B&Ms, you're going to have airtime. So wherever they lay those out, those are great rides. Obviously better than the Arrow hyper like Magnum XL200, but B&M, they've really made a lot of innovation in their rides. Their 300-foot Fury 325 is an absolutely amazing ride, and they just improved upon that they have on their hypers. They have the wing coasters, which are absolutely amazing. They're really cool. Their inverts, that just was not heard of when we were thinking. I mean, not we, because I'm not somebody who designed rides back then, but when they're thinking of roller coasters, B&M's the one who said, hey, let's put them underneath the track and make an invert. Now, inverts are obviously not the #1 coaster type, but when an invert is made right, which B&M does frequently, it's a very, very good ride. So we definitely have to put B&M at number 3 for their reliability and just their rides. Now, what could possibly be in between B&M and the obvious #1? Well, how about RMC? Oh, wait, you thought RMC was going to be #1 and Intamin was going to be second? Well, I'll give you a few seconds for you to go down to the comments and roast me for having an opinion different than yours. Alright, are you done typing real quick? Alright, I'll continue. So now looking at RMC, really for innovation, they're up there. Looking at all these old Woodies, we would just be like, oh wow, these are landmarks, because they're old, they're rough, but hey, they're old. So that's cool about them, I guess. They've been here for a while. So they're really nothing's going to happen, and they're just going to be here. They're going to be rough for the rest of our lives and our children's lives. Everybody's going to keep getting on them, just going to keep getting rougher. Now, obviously, there are a lot of good wooden coasters, but right now, or not right now, But before RMC came out, we would just look at a rough woody and be like, well, that's going to be there. Hopefully they tear it down and put a steel coaster there, but RMC comes in and they just change what is, the wooden coaster we love because it's old, but not because it's good, and they just make it absolutely amazing. So now looking at RMC's track record, Lightning Rod doesn't have a great track record, but the rest of their rides are absolutely amazing. Storm Chaser, just an example, the barrel down drop, RMC really is one of the most innovative. Now, I'm not going to compare them to Arrow because Arrow basically made everything, but RMC is extremely innovative in turning our old woodies into really new rides that are absolutely amazing, that have inversions that have airtime, that are definitely smoother than what the old woodies would have never dreamed of being. So that is why we have to put RMC on the list. Now, number one, undoubtable for me. Let's get into it. Number one for me has got to be good old Intamin. Just for all of their types and all of their just amazing rides. Got Millennium Force. I'm just going to go through their types, actually. So we've got the Giga, like Millennium Force. Amazing ride. Not my number one because I'm not a GP, but it's still a great ride. But just look at a Stratocoaster. Now, I'm sure a lot of GP and maybe even some of the coaster enthusiasts haven't even thought twice about how, Top of the Dragster King Decal works. But when you really dig deep into that, and you see the amount of engineering that's in that, it is just, that's why it's my number one, because after looking deep into that, that's what made me want to join, this coaster community and want to build those roller coasters in my future. Because it is just an amazing feat of engineering, what they have created. And so that's not just the Stratos what's going to make that my number one, but when you look at the prefab, El Toro, it even has a cable lift, another technology Intamin has perfected. And just looking at Intamin and El Toro, I don't understand how they made a wood coaster not feel like wood. You don't even feel the wheels going over the wood like you would on a GCI. It literally feels straight up like steel. And the airtime on that is absolutely amazing. People complain about, L-shaped layouts and all that stuff, where there's just the airtime turns. El Toro's just airtime hill after another in a few turns. But, they turn that into something amazing. Skyrush. We were getting old B&M hypers, and they make Skyrush, which is an Intamin hyper. That ride is amazing, I've heard, and I can't wait to do it this summer. So basically, Intamin is just always, ahead of the game. So, with their hydraulic launches, their LSMs, they are taking other companies, I don't want to say ideas, but they're making the rides better, which is why Intamin absolutely has to be number one on this list. Now with that, I want to thank you guys for watching the video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I know I've got 3 other videos planned for this weekend, so I hope to see you guys there, and I'll see you in the next one.